What is up, Starseeds? It's Sid, and today I wanted to do a quick video on what happens when we dream. What happens when we sleep? Do we possibly go somewhere as our souls, or what? Something I hope we have all thought about at least some point in our lives. So let's get into this. As usual, I've done my research on this, but also as usual, there's not a lot of info on this topic. But we're going to work with what we have. So, to me, it makes sense to look at also not just how supposedly humans dream, because the science is so limited right now in this field specifically, because of pseudoscience and metaphysics having such a strong influence over it. But anyways, if we look at how animals dream, how animals sleep in general, and how, let's say, blind people, deaf people, etc. dream because their senses are different than most people, we can get a general idea of how the average human, or how the average life form on Earth in general, sleeps and dreams. So I think that's pretty exciting and revolutionary for thought, I guess. Now let's really get into this. First things first, you need to understand your brain waves when you sleep. I talked about this in my last video a little bit. It was on binaural beats. But when you sleep, you go in between a theta and a delta state. So theta is 4 to 8 hertz, and it is more of a deep meditation or a bit lighter form of sleep. The delta state is going to be your deeper sleep, that 0.1 to 4 hertz. So when you go to sleep, there's going to be supposedly 4 stages. Stage 1 and 2 are going to be in the theta realms, and that's just going to be non-REM sleep, non-rapid eye movement. Then you are going to get a bit deeper in the delta state, another non-rapid eye movement, and then you get into REM sleep, obviously also in the delta, that deep sleep state. Then you can cycle through those stages again however many times throughout the night or whatever if you get woken up in between stages. Those are just the general stages. So you go in between a more relaxed sleep and a more deeper sleep. That REM sleep is in that last delta state where you are going to be a lot more likely to dream, and if you have those really out there dreams, that's definitely in the REM stage of sleep. So if you are having dreams of being off planet, or dreams where things are turning into different things, or it looks like Mario, you're in REM sleep. You are super deep and your eyes are rapidly moving, looking different ways, but usually your eyelids are closed, hopefully. So it's not that obvious to notice, but if people are watching you, they can probably see your eyes moving under your eyelids when you're in REM sleep. That's how you know that you're deep and dreaming. But also in animals, birds will go through this REM and non-REM just like mammals. It's super interesting to look at these stages of sleep. I think in birds especially, honestly, just after watching this really cool video by World Science Festival, there was a bird expert, a rat expert, all about sleep. There was a human sleep expert too, but you know, I thought the animal stuff was pretty cool. They did this experiment with ducks. They put all these ducks in rows, literally, and the ones on the outside, you know how birds can sometimes sleep with one eye open. It's probably a protection thing, you would think, right? Well, with this study, it's definitely facts, because the birds on the outside would have one eye open, and it was usually the eye towards the outside, and there'd be other ducks in the inside. They would get a better night's sleep and have both eyes closed. You know, so in the wild, I bet animals do this for protection reasons with their herd or packs or whatever, and probably, you know, switch off who's on the outside, who's on the inside. I thought that was really interesting. and humans, you know, we don't have to worry about this, but it's kind of cool to think, you know, if you were in jail for years, could you develop, you know, an ability to sleep with one eye open? It makes sense because the other half of your brain would be on or off depending on what side you're going for and what brainwave states you're in, but it could totally be adaptable for humans too if you think about it. Scientifically it makes sense to me, but that just goes to show like how blind and deaf people dream. Blind people are not only over 4 times more likely to have nightmares, but they usually don't see in their dreams, especially if they've never seen before, if they were born with it. You're not gonna see in your dreams, you know, unless it's one of those magical things where you like remember your past lives where you could see or something, so you have the ability to see in your dreams. But if you were blind, you know, after you already remember seeing, you are going to see in your dreams until you aren't really thinking about that, or, you know, it's been years and years and you don't even really remember, so you just don't see anything in your dream. Basically the same thing with being deaf. You're not going to hear in your dream if it's been a long time since you became deaf. You're not going to hear in your dream if you've been born deaf, but you will if, you know, you remember that and that's a part of your life. You can hear in your dream. So yeah, I like looking at that different sensory stuff, and it just goes to make sure that your theory is correct of whatever you kind of have a hypothesis of. You know, your scientific beliefs and your spiritual beliefs have to correspond for it to be correct. I've said this before in previous videos. I have a video on my kind of theory of the universe, what I think happens after you die. The link to that will be in the description of this video if you want to check that out. But what I think happens when you sleep, it really has to do a lot with parts of your brain that usually go unused during the day, and parts of just your soul that go unused during the day. So, to get into this more without sounding totally insane, let's look at this kind of study. Also in that other YouTube video I recommended, the World Science Festival, there was this guy that talked about how they were doing studies on rats, and the rat's hippocampus, the part of your brain that deals with basically all things memory and especially places in your memory. They could see on this screen, they hooked up, you know, all these wires to rats' brains or whatever, and they had them running through a maze, and then later they could see when they were asleep, they were remembering parts of the maze, but at much quicker speeds than when they were actually running through the maze. So if that's not proof that the rats were dreaming about running through the maze a bit quicker than they were actually doing it, and not in the exact order that they were, and just random parts of the maze are popping in their memory in that sequence, but at random intervals at a higher velocity of speed, then I don't know what proof of that would be. So that definitely shows that not only in humans you dream about places and memories sometimes, but in rats too, and to use these parts of your brain while you're asleep. So if you're using your hippocampus and you're using all these other parts of your brain, why aren't you using your pineal gland too? There's also been studies that show when you sleep, you use the parts of your body that you weren't using that much during the day, and you restore the parts of your body that you were. So if you hurt your arm really bad at work, then you are just going to be repairing your arm in your sleep. You're not going to be using your arm in your sleep. That don't make sense. So you would be using your pineal gland in your sleep if you're not using it awake. And even if you're a shaman, you're not using it awake that much. You know, compared to aliens, we aren't using our pineal glands hardly at all. So of course, especially the average person, if you live in like, you know, a modern society type world, that's when you're going to use your pineal gland, is when you are unconscious of it, because you can't handle the conscious use of it because you're not used to it. This is also just kind of my own little side theory, but maybe that's why you have rapid eye movement when you're in that REM stage of sleep, that deep delta stage when you're sleeping. Could it be because you're using your pineal gland that has rods and cones in it, the only other part of your body besides your real two eyes? Is there some weird nerve connection to that? Or is there a connection to the fact that the pineal gland releases melatonin and serotonin, hormones that control your sleep cycle and your mood, two things that are greatly influenced while you're asleep, obviously. So, you obviously use your pineal gland in your sleep, right? If you don't know what the pineal gland is, I have a whole video on this subject as well, but your pineal gland is what takes you to other dimensions. It's what gets you in that other vibration. It's probably what gets you to that delta stage of sleep to begin with, to dream in the first place, yet alone what it does once you're already dreaming, or once you are what I like to call probably past a dream. I think when you sleep, you go to other lives, other worlds possibly, or maybe it's the same looking world, but have you ever woke up and just felt like you were literally in another world, like you had another life you just came back from? Or do you ever feel like you're going somewhere before you go to sleep, and like you have something to do, you know, once you fall asleep? I don't know. I've had those feelings before. I know other people have, and I know that I go somewhere when I sleep. I've tried denying that. I've tried, you know, coming up with other theories, but this is science too, and it's what totally makes sense. So this is what I'm going with. If you don't believe it, that's fine. But I just want to throw this idea out there because it's important for people to start thinking this. If this is reality, then we should accept this so we can progress this. You know what I'm saying? That's pretty much it. I don't want this video to get too long, but I really just want to hit on those key points and make you guys think. I'm going to be doing another video on other lives, this life, you know, having your energy in multiple places, and what exactly that means, how/why it's done, you know. But I just wanted to say, when you're asleep, you know, I think you go to other places. I think you can go meet up with other people, meet up with your star family, with, you know, aliens and your galactic family that are looking out for you, and you can make soul contracts. You can be abducted in your sleep. You can go up to the ship and agree to things to happen to you in this life. You just kind of play it out, so then when it comes in this life, you know how to act better. It's like just like going to school. I feel like that's why people have lots of dreams of being in these weird magical schools too. I know most of my dreams are probably like that. I don't dream that often. I know everyone says you dream every night, so I guess I do, but I don't remember. I feel like dreams are kind of a little shield over your real vision. That's kind of your screen memory of what you remember from that other world you were in, because you don't have, you know, the stress-free life to remember it. Maybe if you were enlightened and super stress-free, you would remember all of the places you went, like some people have. But us in this such dense dimension right now don't have the capability to remember those other places we go. So that's why humans dream, and we aren't just accepting the fact that, you know, we go to our other lives at night. But that's my theory. I'd love to hear your guys's in the comments or other videos you would like me to do in the future. Just drop the topic down below. And I am also setting up a Patreon. It should be up in a few days or very, very soon. So you guys can actually donate to that if you choose. That would be like amazing. I don't expect anyone to, but I mean, this is like how I'm gonna get it going. I can't do stuff on the income that I have right now, so not trying to scavenge for money, but I'm literally trying to save the world, so I'm not gonna turn down donations at this point. I've realized I would just be, more selfish to turn it down than to accept it, because I'm really trying just to create a movement here. So yeah, you can donate to my Patreon. Once that is up, I will obviously let everyone know. And if you donate, you do get benefits. You can see what they are, but literally just $1 will get you a bunch of extra spiritual info. So it's not like you're just donating, it's kind of like you're buying a slight service. So there's that. You can buy Skype calls with me too and stuff with just by donating. It's a bit more money for that, but yeah, you can get crystals. I'll send you a deck of tarot cards in the mail if you send me enough money, So just hit me up, email me if you want. That's, what you do, even if you go through the Patreon. But right now there is a Facebook page up, and you can, book stuff there and then email me after, like you would do if you bought it on Patreon, even though it's not up yet. So just get a hold of me, and, we'll figure out whatever you want to figure it out. I'm here for your service. That's why I came to Earth. So always feel free to contact me if you need something. I don't have that big of an audience right now. I'm not Kim Kardashian or anything, so I'll message you back. One last thing, you guys. I got this super cute bikini top from Breezy Swimwear. It's called Cheyenne, and you guys can get 10% off of your next order if you use code sydalexandriaegypt. That code is valid all the time, so you guys should totally go check them out. They have bikinis, one pieces, cute clothes like crop tops and stuff. They have towels, everything. I hope you guys have a great week. Love and light, and the hybrid children are coming soon.